Would you rather cross paths with a man or a bear in the forest?
Bear.
Bear.
Wait, let's start with Michaela.
I would definitely rather cross paths with a man.
Okay.
I said bear.
Just scoot your mic a little closer to you. Okay. What about you?
Man.
Oh, wow. That's surprising. Okay.
I can fight
Shelby?
them off.
A bear.
A bear?
A bear.
Bear? Wow.
A man.
A bear. A bear. I've actually had that happen.
Really?
Oh, boy. Okay. And then
Man.
what about you, Samson?
Man.
Man. Okay, a lot of bears here. Why do you, really quickly, we won't linger too long on it. Why do you pick bear?
Because I could eat a bear.
Starting with Bella.
I feel like with a bear, I would just get killed. But with a man, I would hardwood.
Suffer.
Mm-hmm. Next,
get killed.
Shelby.
I picked the bear because it's just their natural instinct and they don't really know that they're doing anything wrong. Whereas a man obviously knows what they're doing and they can torture you longer. And I wouldn't feel as like victimized by a bear.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Okay.
That is so
who else picked bear?
A bear, just like you guys said, like it's natural instincts. You cross paths with a man. What was it in a forest? Like, what is he doing in a forest? You don't know his intentions.
He's hiking. You're
Hiking.
probably
What
in
if
the
it's
forest
like
hiking.
we didn't specify if it's like a hiker.
I
or
think
like
I think it's like
somebody
a
just-
hike. You're in the
I'm still
forest
gonna cross
camping.
paths with a bear.
Okay. Why do you pick bear?
Because I think I'll be able to figure out a way to kill a bear, and then I could eat its meat, use its fur to keep warm.
How are
more
you gonna
useful
kill
than
the bear?
I don't know, but I'll figure it out. Even guns don't kill bears. Like, you need a certain caliber to kill a bear. Or just wait till it dies, or I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'm not disagreeing with you because I also chose bear, but
Okay.
it's more useful.
Why do you pick bear?
Bear's more useful. I've come across a bear twice backpacking because that's like one of my favorite things to do is backpack, and I go by myself. And one time the bear literally just saw me and kept walking. The other time I was asleep and it came across my tent and literally sniffed me and kept walking. But I have had men follow me into the wilderness when I've been on like 60-mile backpacking trips, and that is absolutely terrifying. Like one time I literally had a family that I saw as I was going around the Prescott Circuit Loop because I used to live in Arizona, and I had to get a ride back with them to my car because there was a man following me for 10 miles, and he thought I didn't see him, but he was behind me. So I'd rather be with the bear in that situation.
Yeah, but how many men have you walked past that did absolutely nothing to you?
That's fair. I mean, bears sometimes sometimes they're not bothered by you, and if it's, an aggressive bear or an aggressive man, I still would rather be around an aggressive bear because a man will sexually assault you before you die versus a bear will kill you. So I'd rather be killed than sexually assaulted and then killed.
But I mean, you have significantly more data points when it comes to interactions with men.
Yeah.
Sure, there are bad men out there, and maybe they've done bad things to you, or you've had uncomfortable or awful experiences with men. I don't doubt this at all. But you also have like data points of like men who you just walk past the street.
That's true.
Don't even look at you.
Yeah.
Don't care whatsoever.
If they're following me.
You've probably passed tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of men in your entire life. Didn't do a single thing to you.
That's fair.
But is basically my understanding is, well, you either you have experiences, or maybe on top of that, you've heard experiences of other women who've had bad experiences with men, and because of this, there's like your concern as well. The guy could essay me essentially. So on that note, what percentage of men then? Because you're doing a risk assessment, you're thinking, well, the man could do nothing, the bear could do nothing, the bear could kill me, the man could kill me, the man could essay me. What percentage of men do you think would be inclined to essay a woman in this situation?
Like a woman alone in the woods.
Yeah, what percentage of men?
I don't know.
It doesn't have to be precise. It could be, you could say 50%, 60%, 30%, 10%. What do you think?
I really can't answer that question. I don't know. I think if they were following me, then that's obviously a different scenario. If you're just saying a random man or a bear, I would pick like the man if he's not following me. But if they're following me, that's a
Okay,
different
look, here's the scenario.
transaction. Okay.
You spawn into a forest randomly.
Okay.
Then you have two buttons that are presented to you. You can spawn in a random man from the entire US population or a random bear.
Okay.
This
Yeah,
could
man.
be-
Then man. But if that's different. That's not how I understood the
All right,
question.
all right, that's fine.
Yeah.
We got you. We're
You
good.
said bear. What do you? I mean, so all of you who say bear, I'm assuming there's some component of fear when it comes to essay. What percentage of men do you think would essay you, or be
maybe-
inclined to essay? I guess
Maybe like 50%.
half. Okay. What about you?
50.
Into the mic, just closer.
50.
50,
I'd say like 60.
60,
30.
30.
Would be
Okay, so wait. 50, 50, 60, 30. Oh, well, you said man, but I mean.
No. I'm just like,
Did
what was
you
the question? The question was, would be inclined to essay
Yeah,
them?
what percentage of men in the entire population of the United States would you think, if given this opportunity, would essay you?
I mean, I answered bear, but you still want, I mean, man.
Yeah.
Do you still want me
I mean,
to
if
answer?
you want, it sounded like you wanted to answer.
Only,
so.
like 1% maybe.
1%,
I don't know.
okay, sure.
Less
89.
Huh?
89.
89%.
I do. I think.
You
Yeah.
think it's.
So
But you pick. If you think that, you pick man? You said you picked man, right?
Well, a bear will kill you.
Well-
You're talking about just
Essay, yeah. Oh,
That's the difference.
89, wow.
I do think that.
Okay, so 89, 50, 50, 60, 30. Let's, I guess, start with those. Do you have brothers?
One.
One brother?
Yeah.
You have male
5
cousins?
sisters. 1, 2.
You have a dad?
No.
No dad?
No.
Passed away?
And just no dads.
Oh, okay. Grandparents?
No.
Male
Yeah,
grandparents?
grandpa.
Okay, grandpa. You have brothers? How many brothers?
One.
One? You have a dad?
Yeah.
Grandparents?
Um,
Male cousins?
Yeah.
4 brothers.
4 brothers? You got a dad?
Yeah.
Grandparents?
Yeah.
Male cousins?
Yeah.
Brothers? Father? Grandparent? Okay. Do you have male friends? Okay. What about you?
A dad.
Brothers?
No.
Father?
Yeah.
Male friends? Cousins?
Yeah.
Grandparents? Okay. So you said you had 4 brothers, was it? And sorry, did you say you had 1 brother?
Yeah.
So there's like a 50% chance your brother's an essayer. And then 2 of your brothers are essayers.
No, I'm not saying they are.
Well,
No.
you said 50% of men. This would include your immediate family.
True.
So I want you to look into
I'm not.
look into this camera right here, and you don't have to say their name, but be like, "Hey, I don't know, maybe you don't know which of the 2 brothers are essayers, but tell your brothers that they're essayers."
No.
But so your family is just different.
No, I'm not saying they're different, but I'm not gonna say that either. What the hell?
But why not?
No,
I
I'm not saying
mean,
that.
your own statistics would indicate that
They could
2
probably
of
be
your
the 50% that
blood
doesn't.
brothers are essayers.
They could probably be the 50% that's not.
Shelby, you said you had male friends. 60% of them are essayers. All the men you know, 60% of them essayers.
But that's because, like, I don't hang around people that would, like, do things like that. So it, like, skews
How do you
the...
know?
I mean, I don't, but
Okay,
based
all right.
off, like...
30% of all your male relatives are essayers.
If given the chance, I think.
Look
they
into this
would.
camera and say, "Hi, family.
What's
I'll
up,
see you at
fam?
the family reunion."
If given the
30% of
chance,
you
they would.
men are essayers. Say it into the camera.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if they were given the chance, no repercussions, they would. 33%.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and it
all
would
right.
change the whole culture of the world, and then just be
And then you,
slavery.
89% of your male.
not my family, of the world. Like
No,
if it was allowed, the whole
okay.
world would be
All right.
different.
I don't know. That's kind of crazy, but pretty wild. Okay, well.
Sorry. Lo siento.
All right, let's see here. A couple more notes. While I'm just looking at these, any thoughts from anybody? Any final topics you guys want to hit on? We're going to wrap here very soon.
This is making me sad. Very sad. Well, just how incredibly I don't know. You guys are so down on men. I mean, you guys have had bad situations. I mean, 50% of men you think would essay you if they got the chance. That's an incredible
I can confidently
statistic.
say, and I don't know any of these girls, that they have all had at least one experience, and that's like bare minimum of feeling assaulted at one point in their life.
That is so.
And
it's so terrible.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I totally agree with. But just consider the amount of people, of men that you've had good interactions
I get
with.
like verbally assaulted like every single day.
Really?
Yeah.
Today?
How do you get verbally?
What happened
Like
today?
at work.
Tell me what happened today.
I work at like a coffee shop, and like literally an older man with his family was like, I can't remember the verbiage, but he's like, I'm trying to think of a way to assault this girl or harass this girl. He said harass this
Today?
girl. Yes.
He
Or
said, I'm
yesterday,
thinking of a
'cause I
way.
didn't have work today.
He said he was with his family.
Yeah. Like, it happens like way more than y'all think, because you guys don't experience it through our eyes, and like being a girl, you don't experience
But
it.
how many good interactions do you have
It
with
doesn't
a
matter.
man on every single day? No, it does, because it's percentages. It's like if you're taking the negative things, you have to take the positive ones into account as well.
Right.
You know, that's like me getting whatever
Yeah, but
hurt
that's
by
only
my
the guys that
ex-girlfriend.
say things. Guys, like, they'll look at you and you don't even know what's going through their minds.
The culture is surrounding sex, right? Like that's what we were talking about earlier with hookup culture. So it's fair to say that like these frustrated men are assaulting women. Like there are a lot of cases of assault, and if not reported, well, you know, sometimes it's like you feel vulnerable. You feel like you can't report it because how was I weak enough to let this happen to me? Like you start to question your own worth when you're in a position like that. And, you know, maybe it's not 50%, maybe it's only 20%, but when you don't report it, then they'll do it to the next person as well. And a lot of times it's within relationships.
So you're saying that not reporting it is the problem?
No, I'm not saying
Well, it sounds like that's a really big part of the problem.
it's very difficult to report something like that. I mean, have you been sexually assaulted?
Well, I mean, the problem needs to be fixed.
Right.
Yes.
So if
That's
the
true.
problem's going to be fixed, I don't think the answer is chastity belts.
I don't think the answer is that either. I think the answer is self-control and seeing human beings as things that are worthy of respect, not assaulting them. I think that's the answer. I don't know.
I would just ask for a little bit lower of a percentage, because that is
Even on
that's
dating
pretty
apps.
insulting.
Like dating apps, like the first like thing a lot of guys will say is just something lustful.
Well, I mean, you're engaging with hookup culture. You're in a position where you're putting yourself out there. I mean,
No.
most women that I know on Tinder, most men that I know on Tinder
Well,
as
it's
well,
Hinge, but-
like are very much on there to engage in hookup culture.
That's Tinder, though.
Hold on, the
Tinder,
internet is like both men and women receive all kinds of like ridiculous stuff on the internet. Your complaint here has shifted from like an actual crime to a man saying like an inappropriate, perhaps sexual statement on a dating app. Like, grow some thicker skin. Yeah, guys shouldn't be doing that, but like a guy's like, oh, nice titties on a dating app, bro, grow thicker skin. I mean, really?
I got my first gun at 18, my first pistol. I was gifted it because of men, because my parents were worried about the hobbies that I have and me encountering a man, you know, doing one of those things, whether it was, you know, going on a dirt biking trip and them seeing that I was alone and them, you know, trying to come after me there, or whether it was backpacking and somebody, you know, trying to stalk me like I had happen. So, you know, there is something that's not talked about there. I'm not saying that men are innately horrible. I'm not saying that men, you know, innately want to sexually assault women. And I do think there are a lot of great men out there. However, there's something that's not really spoken about. Most women, I mean, I don't know the statistic, but a lot of these women have been assaulted. And if
Yeah,
it's,
well, hold on. I want to challenge this assault thing, because there's all these surveys that are out there. Rain publishes it. These other places publish it. And if you actually, I've actually investigated these surveys that they do. Now, we can go off like FBI and DOJ statistics when it comes to violent crime, because that's, you say, well, they don't report. How else can we make a determination as to what actually has happened and what doesn't, unless we're looking at crime statistics? But if we're looking at surveys, which are dubious at best. And these, mind you, these surveys have significant bias. And a lot of these surveys, one, there's self-selection. People are like, oh, I want to answer this, I don't. If you actually look at the content of it, what they include, there's like different levels of what they'll consider assault.
Okay.
And in the surveys, they'll ask women questions like, have you ever been catcalled? I don't think catcalling is appropriate. I don't think you have been
that's
sexually
harassment.
assaulted if a guy said an inappropriate thing to you in the street. I don't think men should do it. I think it's wrong. But they include that in the statistics to try to forward a narrative and pad the numbers to make it, to create this sort of fear dynamic in women that this is something that is far more common than it actually is. I think it's insulting to women who are actually victims of awful crimes, but to include things like catcalling or inappropriate jokes or a guy, I read one of these, if your boyfriend wants to break up with you because you no longer have sex with him, that's sexual coercion. I'm sorry, whether you're a man or a woman, if your partner no longer wants to have sex with you, if you're a woman, you can dump the guy. If you're a man, you can dump the woman. That's not a sex crime. That's not sexual assault. That's not sexual coercion. That's just a fair expectation to have in a relationship. But because these feminist institutions want to pad their position, they're going to include catcalling and inappropriate jokes and a boyfriend who breaks up with his girlfriend or maybe says he wants to break up with her because they're not having sex anymore.
Okay, I never argued a statistic because I don't know any of the statistics. And so what I'm saying here is actual sexual assault. That's sexual harassment. There's a clear line with that even in the workplace.
But they include that in the sexual assault statistics.
I understand that. And, that's definitely worked then because women do have a sense of fear around men. Like, you do not want to be the only woman in a room of 20 guys. It's
But if you're gonna throw out a statistic
I didn't
and
throw out
say
a
no,
statistic.
I'm saying all of you guys saying
I
your
didn't say a
statistic. No,
number.
sorry. I'm talking to the 50%ers, the 60%ers, and you guys, if you choose to be out in the wilderness with a bear instead of a man, you have to understand, like, you have to look into that camera and say that the men in your lives, your family, your dads, your brothers, like, they are included in that statistic that you think. Like, I know your experiences may have been terrible, but at the same time, you have to include them in there. And like most of you guys said, you won't, because that's not an accurate representation of the actual percentage. I think you guys have a lot more faith in men than you actually think you do, but those statistics don't reflect that at all.
Here, how about this though? Why don't we just go ahead and grant it, like that maybe the rates are this high.
Is it you or me, bro?
What do you mean?
50%. It's 50%.
Well, we got
It's
Damien
you or me,
got
bro.
Damien
Or
in here, too.
Damien.
I guess, like, here's the objection here is like I'll go ahead and grant you guys have all had terrible experiences with men, maybe even to the point of like a crime, crime's been committed. And that's terrible and awful. And I hope that person gets his justice or karma or whatever. But I guess it's like you did have a bad experience with a man, and then now you think all men bad. Now, I wonder though, is this sexist? And I want to change the bear question a little bit. So let's say there's a white person who either themselves or has known people who have been assaulted by a black person. They also see news stories and belong to online groups, and their TikTok algorithm feeds them stories about black on white crime. Much like as a woman, if you engage on TikTok with certain stuff that relates to SA, the algorithm's going to feed you more of that. Because of their safety concerns, they're scared of black people. They believe all black people have the capacity for violence or assault of some kind. Would this person be racist?
Yes.
So then if women have a fear of all men because of 1, 2, 3, or hearing other people's poor experiences with men, would this make you guys sexist towards men?
That's completely different.
How is it
it's just
different?
different.
How is it different?
I do think if you are not able to see the good in any man because of those experiences, then that is you being sexist. I mean, I personally have gone through things that I would rather not discuss, and I still have a loving boyfriend that I plan to marry. Like, I still love my dad very deeply. I still have friends that I care very deeply about. I have my brother that I love. You know, I don't go around assuming every man is going to do that, but I do have to be hypervigilant of certain behaviors that could lead to that. And having firsthand experience, it's like
Sure.
you're aware and you start to recognize patterns. And, you know, the sad truth is that there's a lot of men that they exhibit those patterns, and you notice it, and you have to take a step back. Now,
But
that's
okay,
not saying
that's
every
fine. Is it
man.
sexist though?
For me to
Is it sexist against men?
for me to recognize patterns and base my
You would rather be in the forest with a
when you
wild
clarified
animal.
it, I changed my point
Oh,
when you
okay.
clarified it. When you clarified
Can we hear from somebody with that actually gave a statistic, like the 50%? Like, what do you think of his point that he made? Like, is that sexist of women to think that way?
Wait, can you repeat the question?
It has to be sexist. It has to be sexist. There's no way around it.
Well, sexist is the idea of like hating one gender. So just because like we have
Well,
a
it could be like
preference
you have a
of-
bias or like a prejudice. So, like, for example, if you think if I thought all Latino people were criminals, would this be racist?
what
Well, I don't think all men are like bad or anything, but
No, but if
I
you
just-
think like all men or like a high proportion of men have a propensity towards being criminals, aka essayers.
If essaying or
If it was
whatever
allowed,
wasn't
it's not a crime.
involved, if it was just like being able to get murdered, that's what's like different. It's the essaying part that differentiates the racism and the sexism.
Wait,
But
I'm sorry.
in
what?
his example, he was talking about like black people. If you're constantly fed this influx of content that's making you think that black people commit a lot of crime, and so then you become scared of black people, we asked you, do you think that's racist? She said yes. So then the alternative would also be sexist. If you have these experiences, to automatically be applying your experiences in your situation to the majority of men, that would be sexist.
But I'm saying when you put in the factor of being essayed into it, that like just changes the whole dynamic.
I think it's like an
Well, why does it
exaggerated
change the
bias,
dynamic?
but not necessarily
Because-
sexist.
Because
Men
it's
don't
it's
usually,
violence
like-
against other people.
I don't understand though. Like, what? So is your position like, and maybe it is, essay worse than murder?
No, but I'm saying that women
I agree with you that
experience
essay is different
like,
than murder.
We both have the same chance of being murdered technically, but
No, we don't.
women have
No, we don't. No. Hold on. No, we don't. Men are much more likely to be murdered.
Much more likely.
But I mean, like, the act of it. Like, if someone came into a room and just, like, shot, like, we both have, like, the same chance of getting shot. Like, just theoretically. But, like, men have less chance of being essayed than women.
Sure, I'll
I
go ahead and
think
grant
that-
it. What's your point?
Aren't men more essayed because of prisons?
Well, I mean,
we don't need to get into that.
I mean, here's the thing. If you look at the actual, like, the definition of grape would actually preclude it from ever being considered something that can happen to men.
Oh.
Now, if you include, like, made to penetrate, then perhaps those numbers even up. But then, so men on man essay,
Exactly,
where the man can be penetrated.
If you're super anti-essay, you should be
yeah, sure. I'll
outside
go ahead
of
and grant.
prison.
Yes, it happens more to women. What's your point?
That you guys don't experience or understand what we feel. Because it technically, like,
So you're saying men can't be essayed?
no.
Like a man could be essayed by
imagine no, 'cause
And
men,
like
men
the
do
whole,
get
you guys,
essayed.
you said you guys are stronger than us
Well,
too.
do you want to know something that's funny? Is I get all of the exact type of catcalls that you guys get from men from men as well. In fact, like,
Yeah.
because of my following on YouTube, like, I get a very similar amount.
In a situation of getting essayed, you'd have a better chance of being able to not, because you have the same physical strength as the other man.
Yeah, so
We're already at a disadvantage.
I'm happy to just go ahead and grant your position. Essay is a bigger concern for women than it is for men.
I agree.
But you do have to, the statement is it sexist to have this like general fear or bias of all men, or like this hesitancy towards all men?
So I definitely felt like I became sexist after what had happened for a little bit. I was afraid of men, but you have to work through it. It's just like if you're a little kid, right, and you don't understand depth yet, and you walk onto a cliff and you fall, right? Let's say the cliff's not that high, right? It's like 5 feet, and you hurt yourself. Okay, so after that, you understand cliff equals fall. So you have to change that in your brain to understand that man does not mean hurt. Like, man does not mean, you know, danger. Now, that's something that takes a lot of work. You're literally training yourself, because that's a stimulus.
Sure.
You've had the stimulus, you see the cause and effect, and so you create a perception based off of that. You create a mental set, a data set around men based off of that. So you have to then retrain yourself to trust men again. And that's, you know, if you don't, then yes, you
can we
stay
hear
trusting.
somebody else?
You said yes. You said yes.
But,
It does
I'm,
make you
I'm
sexist.
I'm trying to like help people understand how the other women are thinking the way that they are. If you haven't trained yourself to rewire that so you're not afraid of men anymore, you're still gonna have that fear. Like we said earlier, when I was like, okay, a man following me or a bear following me, I would rather have the bear because I'd get killed rather than assaulted and then killed. Like, that is a fear that is in your head, but you have to learn how to rewire it. Okay,
Do you think it's sexist?
Okay, what I wanted to comment on was I think that black men being considered quote unquote violent has nothing to do with the race and more of the environment. True or false?
Wait, what?
Like, going back to the whole like racism part.
Uh-huh.
And
That's
so,
what do you mean the environment?
like, how do you explain it?
Hold on, how about this? Would you, like, if you guys saw a group of men coming at you and you were walking alone, it was late at night or whatever, would you cross the street?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, do you think that's sexist to do that?
I feel like in order for it to be sexist, it has to be irrational. I don't think it's irrational to.
It's like,
Okay,
if you see a group of black women walking towards you, I wouldn't really necessarily feel inclined to cross the street. If I saw a group of black men walking towards me, yeah. So it has nothing to do with race.
But if a certain population commits a certain percentage of the crime, does that make you racist for avoiding them more?
No.
Not in the situation of crossing a street.
But the scenario would just simply be if it's racist to cross the street if you see a group of Latino people or black people or whatever racial group, if that would be racist to do, then it would have to also be sexist if you cross the street because you saw a group of men, regardless, it doesn't matter what the race is.
I
it could
wouldn't
be
cross
mixed.
the street depending
That's
on their
just
race.
survival
It's
instinct.
depending on if it's
Yeah,
a
but
group of
okay,
men.
what if somebody did cross the street because they saw a group of black people?
It wouldn't matter
Then
what
that's
group
right.
it is.
Then
Yeah,
that
it's
could be
racist.
racist.
Okay, then it would
It's
have
just,
to be sexist
survival
to
instinct.
cross the street if you saw a group of
Okay,
men.
so
Why do you
if
keep
you
saying
saw a
black
group of
people, though?
men,
It could be Latino, it could be Latino, it could be any race. I'm just using.
okay, so at night, say if you saw a group of men at night and you're alone, will you cross the street? Or you're just gonna walk like normal, like a group of men at night? You wouldn't think
would
twice?
Would I do it? That's a good question. Would
Are
I
you
do it?
sexist,
Am I
Brian?
sexist?
See, wouldn't
She
you
got it
feel
there.
more scared to come across a
that-
group of
put it-
men than a
gotcha,
group
No,
of
but I
women?
want. The thing is I want you guys. I want you guys to
Honestly,
admit.
if it was a group of white dudes, I would not care at all.
Okay,
Oh boy.
Not at all. Not at all. there are specific people that commit a certain amount of the crime.
And there's a certain gender that also commits a certain amount of the crime.
Yeah, but even like with that statistic of there's a certain group of people, like most of those people that you're talking about are men.
When it comes to crime?
Everything.
Yeah, you're talking about how black people commit. You're talking about black people committing 50% of the crime or something.
Well, that's the original. Yeah, that's the original thing that we were using. If somebody is constantly portrayed to them, like, hey, like a certain number or a certain group of people is committing most of the crime, and then you're just fed that information over and over again, just like somebody who gets SA'd, they're fed over and over again like this: be wary of men, be careful around men. Like, ultimately, I don't think that it would make you racist. I don't think it would make you sexist. Like, in either of those scenarios, I don't.
So you don't think it would be racist to cross the street because there's a group of black people walking towards you at night?
Do I think that it would be racist for me to walk across the street? No, I do not think it would be racist.
I do have to move things on here to try